Hello and welcome to another day, another video. Today I am going to take you through how I make my dog bows. So these are bows that go around a dog's collar. They look super cute. And I am going to do it in matching fabric to the scrunchie that we made last week, a few weeks ago, whenever I get this up. So we're going to make a matching little Grinch bow so that we can match our dogs. I'm super excited about this one. I just love bows on dogs. So let's go make it. So we're going to make two different sizes of bows today. We're going to make a large and a stand and a small. A standard and a small is what I call them on my website. So we're going to lay out our fabric. Get out our ruler. This fabric isn't directional, but it might be different if you had directional fabric. The Grinches face all different ways, so it's fine. We will do 25. So the width of the fabric and 25. Now we'll do 30. So the squares that I make are 30 by 25. Boom, just like that. And then because we're also doing the small size bow, we'll take that down, line that up with the edge. And these ones, the small size, I do 20 by 20. Voila. Okay, so we are going to take off the selvage quickly. So this was 20 centimeters tall. We're also going to make it 20 centimeters wide. So 20, 30, 40. Line it up good. I did this in half as well, so we've got double. And if we line this up with the 20, we're going to iron these in a minute and get all those creases out. I need a new blade on my rotary cutter. Okay, so how long is this now? 10, but it's not quite straight. That's okay. They should be fine for the small ones. Not ideal. That's okay. We'll make it work. So out of this piece of leftover fabric, we're going to do the middle bit that goes around the middle of the bows. And we just want it 10-ish by 4 centimeters. 4, 8, 12. So I'm using down here to line up, but like 12 centimeters is in the middle of a square. So I'm lining up my lines on my ruler with a line on the board so that then I can line the edge up with the 12. 16. So here I've got a white dot on the board. I'm going to line that up with the yellow line underneath. And that puts the edge of the ruler at 16. That one looks about right. So this one, again, we'll start with the selvage. Get rid of that. Ooh. Okay, so this one we did 30. So we are going to do 25. There is a reason that this one isn't square, and it's literally just fabric saving on my part. But you absolutely can do it square. So 25, then we come to 50. Yeah. So gosh, I'm useless at doing straight lines today, apparently. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a bit frustrating to cut because it's got such a deep fold in it. So these ones are, yeah, double what we need. So I'm going to grab some normal scissors. And along this fold, I'm just going to, this is not a professional way to cut, and I don't recommend it, but if you have a fold like that, you can probably get away with it. And I think I only had 4, but I'm going to cut this one anyway, just in case the ones I did for the smaller one are a little bit too small. I actually think they'll be perfect because I almost always make the too small ones too big. Put the cover back on that. Oh my gosh, put them away, put the ruler away. And next up we need to get the iron out and do some interfacing. I just realized I should show you the interfacing. I generally have all my interfacing pre-cut because I make these often, but if you don't, you're just going to cut it the same size as the rectangles we just cut out. Now the problem with my interfacing is it's a massive roll that doesn't fit on the board. So I do hate cutting it out. But yes, just cut it the same sizes. So we're going to line it up perfectly. Other than the fact that it doesn't line up perfectly. So I, today, am only going to cut out the small ones because I do have large interfacing cut out ready to go. But if you don't have interfacing cut out ready to go like me, yeah, you would just cut it 25 by 30. And this one that I'm doing now is going to be 20 by 20. I use quite a stiff interfacing. I believe they call it medium. And you will see why soon. Oh my gosh. I don't think it's in the camera, but I'm struggling to cut this end because it's right at the very edge of my cutting board. There we go. Okay. So we've cut it 20 all the way down. If it looks shiny, that's because it is a gluey side. So I use an iron-on interfacing because we are going to iron this on very shortly. Line up. There we go. So yes, I use an iron-on interfacing in a medium thickness, and that just means that the bows will hold their shape. Like I put them through the washing machine and they hold their shape. So, and I don't like to have things in my house that need hand washing. 1, 2, One day I'm so totally going to have lines on my chopping board for always cutting mat for always cutting in the same place. It's so totally going to happen. So I just do this for the actual bow part. You don't need it for the middle part. Just in case you were wondering. That one's a little bit small, but it's going to be fine. It doesn't actually need to be the whole bow. So there we go. We've got all of our interfacing. I've got a couple too many for the amount of bow fabric that I cut out, but that is fine because I will make more. All right, now let's get the ironing board out. Welcome to the other side of the ironing board. So we're going to start with these little pieces. All we do is fold in the edges like that and iron them in so that they sit nicely for when we sew them. I don't even do this every time. If I'm feeling super lazy, I'll just sew it like this. I don't iron it. But today we're going to iron them. I made myself a coffee that I had not yet had, so do I recommend coffee around your material? No. Am I doing it anyway? Absolutely. So we've got all of these, we can get rid of them. Next up, we need to iron these before we do the interfacing because you can't put the interfacing on that because it'll get stuck like that. So we're going to make them all nice and flat before we stick on interfacing. If you ironed your fabric before you cut these out, you probably don't need to iron them before the interfacing. You can go straight onto the interfacing, but I hate ironing. It is the bane of my life. So I cut them out and then iron, just because if I do need to iron twice, if I get them creased in the cutting out process or whatever, I don't want to have to make myself iron twice. I would rather my cutting be a little bit off because I didn't iron than have to iron twice. I am not a perfectionist. Yeah, I find some creases are really quite stubborn, but I find a little spray does the trick. Okay, so now we're going to do interfacing. I'm just going to show you because I've got it next to me, the little ones, and then I'll do the big ones off camera, and on camera we'll go straight to sewing. So the shiny side of your interfacing, so the other side's not shiny at all. The shiny side, you want it shiny side down. Line it up. And then just iron. My first iron, I like to go from corner to corner so I know it's stuck down in the middle and then go out. You do want to make sure your iron is on the right temperature because you can melt interfacing, but then just flip it over, do it on the other side. Try not to iron any creases onto the interfacing like I'm doing. Luckily, while it's hot, you can iron them out, but that's it. And then we'll do the next one. It can be easier if you, again, run over your fabric first with the ironing, because then it's with the iron, because then it's a little bit hot already. It doesn't really matter. that's pretty much it. So for these smaller ones, we're going to find the middle, fold in half, iron, fold in half, iron, find the middle, fold just over half, iron, fold just over half again, iron. Then we have a cute little square, and what we're going to do at the sewing machine when we get there is just stitch that all down and make it stay. So that is the same for all of the small size. If you also made your big size equal, so if you made it a square and made it 30 by 30, this is also how you would do the large size. However, I don't do my large size 30 by 30 in order to try save a little bit of fabric. So I will show you how I do the large size. I have put the interfacing on off camera. So these short edges are going to fold in, but not to the middle. We're just going to fold them in a little bit. And iron. Okay, so that's that. We leave a gap in between. Then we find the middle, fold this just over. So it's basically the same process, but because we didn't make it a square, we need to leave that little gap. But that's it. And that's your large bows. So that's the difference in size. I personally prefer the larger size on my dog, but I also understand if you have like a little dog, you probably don't prefer the larger size. We are here over at the sewing machine now, and we're going to start sewing all of these pieces together. Let's go! So first up I start with the middle pieces, but it honestly doesn't matter what part you start with. So that's it. That is it. There is no metal science to how close they go to the edge or anything. I stitch them all in one go like this because it's easier and faster. We just do the other side. I guess I'll cut off that tail. Oh, dropped it. Now we do the exact same thing on the other side of these. That's it. These pieces now just have to get the Velcro attached to them, and then they're done, and we just put stitching around the middle of the bow. Next up is all our bow pieces. So I am just trying to stitch threads. I'm just trying to like stitch these down and catch the two together. I don't, same as the last one, I don't usually backstitch. I backstitched on that one just because there wasn't much of a crossover. But I'm not going to backstitch at the end. And I don't usually backstitch because it gets hidden under the middle piece. I don't backstitch on the middle piece either because that gets hidden underneath. Everything gets hidden on these. I am trying to stitch as close as possible to the edge here so that I can catch as much as I can of the bit underneath. Done. So same as the middle bits, just cut. We just have this tail at the very end to cut off. Done. So I'm gonna go cut out the Velcro now for the middle pieces, and then we'll stitch them on. Let's go. I have two different types of Velcro, one with dog fur on it, that I use for my bows. So this one's a little bit thicker, but also a little bit thicker that way, but thinner width-wise. So the smaller width I use on the little bows, and for them I only need 8 centimeters. I usually do about 8.5, just to be careful. And the reason being is that those are for generally smaller dogs, Chihuahuas, Pomeranian type dogs, and so they have slightly thinner collars. I have 5 of the little Grinch bows, so that's why I don't need much in length, but I prefer the smaller width. The only reason that it's thicker this way than the one that I use for the bigger collars is because it's just what I purchased. There's no rhyme or reason for that. So this one that is nice and thin. This goes for bigger collars, bigger dogs, and I generally do about 9.5. So it's only a centimetre more, to be fair. But when you're putting it around a collar, that 1 centimetre makes all the difference. Especially if you have a dog with like a martingale collar. Huge difference. You really need that extra 1 centimetre there. If you make it 10 centimetres, then standard 2.5 centimetre dog collars, you need to overlap this on, and it's a bit annoying. So, but that's it for cutting our Velcro. Let's go sew it on. Okay, so for sewing on the Velcro, I'll use a long piece so it's easier to show it. So we're going to grab our piece of Velcro, fold it in half, find the middle, then with our full length of piece, we're going to fold the top over slightly by like 0.5 centimetre. Okay, so that amount we're folding over. Where that fold is, we're going to hold it near the top, like that, and then we're going to stitch across there to hold it together. We're going to stitch across it 4 times because this will get a lot of pull going on the collar, running around, might get caught on a dog lead, so we are going to go across this a lot. Let's sew. Okay, I've tried to zoom this in nice and tight so we can see it. Okay, So you can see just that little bit folded over. Those threads out of the way. You also need to try and make sure it's all nice and straight and lined up. Okay, let's go. So that's it, 4 times, back and forth. Pull it out, cut your thread, look at what you're doing and not the camera. And then cut it there. Okay, so now this is nice and attached. So what happens is this goes around the middle of your bow. And you've got the Velcro to go around the collar. Like that. But we still need a bow to put around, so let's put Velcro on all the others. I will leave it, good English. Leave it zoomed in so that you can see nice and easily what I'm doing and what's going on. So to make the bows into bows, you need some string and some scissors to cut the string. You can use like sewing machine thread, but I have just struggled as someone who likes to have long nails and also has fat fingers. I have struggled in the past to use sewing machine thread, so I just use actual string. Cut as many as however many bows you have. I have 5 little bows, so they're just ever so slightly shorter. I don't have a magic length to it. I just tried and tested, but you want enough to be able to cut it off. So this is all we're going to do. Grab our thing and fold it. And these folds on the small bow, you want to make quite small so that you can fold your bow as much as you like. With a small bow, you might be happy with just that. I think that's all I'm actually going to get away with on this one, because I think that's maybe... So I'm going to redo it, make them a little bit larger. It was at this point that my microphone died, and not only did my microphone just die, it completely stopped recording all audio. So welcome to voiceover Taj. So I folded the bow. I like to fold it a few times so that you get that little middle piece. You can fold it less, but I don't like the look of it. So then this is a small bow, so I just grabbed the slightly shorter string. You want a little bit hanging out like that, like a bit of a tail. And then I go round 3 times because I really don't want it falling apart. And then I double knot it around the folded bit in the very center, because that'll be folded by the Velcro bits we sewed together earlier, so it'll be hidden. It'll be hidden. So once you tie that double knot, you just cut those ends off. We don't need those extras. Chuck them in the bin, and then we have somewhat of something resembling a bow. So see, that middle bit hides that. Oh, looks so good. So we are going to do all of them. I have no idea what I'm showing you here, but you can't see the stitching because I did the right color, but it doesn't matter because you will cover it. So let's fold up all of them, move the strings out of the way. So how many times do I fold it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I fold them 5 times to get that nice look with that little bit in the middle. That's what I like. That's what I sell. And then we go the string around. With the little ones, I actually only go the string around twice. With the big ones, I go around 3 times. But then we double knot it. That's really important. And then cut it off. All right, I make quite a few of these, so I'm going to speed it up. It's all the same process. Alright, so moving on to the big ones. I do an extra fold for these bad boys because we can, they're big bows. So fold, fold. I find that turning them just makes it easier for the folding. Fold, fold, fold. That's all we did for the little one. And you see, we're going to double it. So, well, double it, add 2 extra folds. So you get like this nice extra bow. I'm trying to hold them together, but at the end we will spread them out. That's how many folds you want for your big bow. Grab a string. Using my hands like this, like holding at thumb finger string, it's just what I've found easiest over making so many bows, but I'm sure you will find a way that works better for you if you make heaps of them. If you just make one, you still might find a way that works better for you, but you are also always welcome to do the same thing I do. Done. Oh, I've got an itchy nose too. I have to itch it later. Okay, so that's centered right. There we go. So yeah, we will display it out to be like an actual bow after we put the middles on. The reason I don't want to display it out now is because then it makes it more difficult to put the middle bits on. You want fabric glue, but you want permanent fabric glue. You can also use hot glue. However, in my escapades of making these bows, I have found hot glue eventually comes apart, especially if you want to put it in the washing machine. So all we're going to do is put our centerpiece upside down. like to zigzag down the whole thing. Like that. Grab this, so you really want to make sure that this is centered. Okay, I don't think that quite was. So move it over slightly. Okay, and we're going to pull this rugged end over, hold it in place, and then the pretty end, put that over, push it down. Now, to help this stay in place as the glue dries, I just do the Velcro up, just like that, and we leave it to dry, just like that. Hello, I am back. It has been more than 24 hours for sure, so these should definitely be dry. I got COVID and it's been a week. So, what is the next stage of making these? So we're going to undo the Velcro. You don't have to do them up. I just do to get the Velcro out of the way. And then we do what I call setting them. And setting them is going to help them all keep their bow shape. Hopefully. I mean, I've done it before and it's always kept the bow shape before. So, it's not hopefully. It will work. So, we'll do the big ones first because they're a lot easier. The Velcro got glued. Okay, so we have our bow. We're just going to open that out and then just push it out like that. So push these folds out. So that they all sit like that. One side, do the other side, so pull it out. Push them. Why do I do this? Why do I call it setting? It just means that when we undo them later, they'll keep their like splayed out bowness a bit more. Bowness. BOW-NESS. I just made that up now. So this is what we're going to do with all of them so that we set their shape. I filmed a whole little bit of the boat and everything, but at the end of the day, that is how I make bows. I don't know where the copy's gone. But that is how I make bows for dogs. That is the finished product. You just don't get to see it on video. But hey, I'm sure I'll make another one of these videos at some point, and I will be sure to find the clips and put on video. You can hear her squeezing her toy now. Thank you so much for watching. I will find all my clips next time. I promise. Bye.